There is a sleeping giant. Who is the sleeping giant? Well, the sleeping giant is actually us. Satan has a scheme to convince us that we are powerless on earth to make a difference. And as long as we believe that lie, we will continue to lie and sleep. But it's a travesty because one of the greatest powers on earth, which is us, the sleeping giant, has been fooled into submission through our lack of knowledge. And we have to think: do we want to be ruled by people who don't know God, or should godly people be in charge, such as ourselves? Plato said that people that refuse to be involved in politics, and yeah, even in those days, people refused to be involved in politics, but he said those that refuse to be involved in politics are destined to be ruled by their inferiors. So we must wake up before it's too late. This November, we will choose leaders, and these leaders will decide our future on many important issues. It will be marriage, abortion, life, health care, our national debt, and our religious freedoms, just to name a few. So will we choose leaders who will make godly choices, or will we just sit home on election day when we have the opportunity? I believe that just, our one vote does count. And it's not just counting because the vote actually does count, but we're also influencing other people. When they see that we vote, then they catch on to the idea that maybe they should vote. And so your one vote counts multitudes just by showing up. And then additionally, God does say in the Bible that what we bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and then what we loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. And then when you place that vote, you are binding and loosing on earth and in heaven. So I want to say, just wake up, sleeping giant. Don't you know that you have the power to save this country from certain doom? While you slept, the haters advanced in all areas of government leadership. And I'm talking about myself too, when I slept. But they announced that we're no longer a Christian nation. They killed 60 million babies. They invited enemy combatants into our country who have brought with them violence and murder and drugs. And then in the name of honor, they murder their own children or mutilate them. And when confronted with FGM, they call it female circumcision when it's actually female castration. They want the borders of protection opened so that they will have free reign to bring a steady flow of drugs and Islamic rule, just the lack of rule of law and order. And so what we hear a lot is that this is what um, the false witnesses will say. Well, what about the poor illegal children? However, by opening the borders, what about the poor children that are being fed the drugs and are dying from it by hundreds of thousands, 100,000 a year? Not just children, but mothers and fathers. So they're losing mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters and children, because we will not use law and order through our border. We can have a gate, but we need to have some order in this, and God is a God of order. So while we slept, there has been attacks on all fronts. The church, there's been an attack to redefine marriage to mean something that it is not, nor ever can be. And people are being forced against their will and against their religion to do things that do not line up with their beliefs. They're even falsely, our constitutional rights, our constitutional religious rights, that's actually in the First Amendment, are being falsely overrun because we've been asleep. We haven't been at the wheel. We haven't been we haven't been at the the watchtower. We haven't been watching, and we haven't been paying attention. Gender just, the meaning of, redefining the meaning of gender, the bathroom usage. We've seen censorship of religious messages, boycotts of national chain companies for attacking beliefs and freedoms, and it just goes on and on. I fear that if the sleeping giant does not wake up and does not get involved, the haters will finally succeed in deceiving this next generation and our whole country. While the giant sleeps, special interest groups are putting in place their people to further their agenda, not God's agenda, but their agenda. And their agenda, make no mistake, is deception. These groups are hostile to anyone who doesn't agree with them. They will make laws against free speech and call it hate crimes. They will make laws against God's word and call it hate speech. We are already seeing this. Individuals' lives are being ruined over something that they had said. While the giant sleeps, the world slips into chaos, and the haters do as they please. They say to one another, the giant sleeps, so we can do as we please. And Charles Finney, the father of the Second Great Awakening in 1835, wrote that God cannot sustain a free and blessed country that we love and pray for, unless the church will take ground, will take the right ground. So we actually have to actively take the ground. He says that God will bless or curse the nation according to what we do in politics. He didn't say according to what the non-believers will do in politics, but what we will do. And we can't choose not to choose, because that itself is a choice. We can't, not speaking is to speak. Because this is a Christian nation created by Christians, it only stands to reason that the whole political system, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, are designed for Christians to govern themselves. And any other group that attempts self-government is simply going to self-destruct, because they don't have that guiding influence of God. So should a Christian vote? Well, Jesus said to go into all the world, except for the political realm. No, actually, he just simply said go into all the world, meaning also the political realm. So are we going into that realm, or are we avoiding it? And is that something God would have us to do? I would say no. According to Charles Finney, we should actually take ground. We need to stand in the gap. Unborn babies can't vote, but you and I can. We don't have to fight a war to gain ground. President Lincoln said that your vote is more powerful than a bullet. And Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said our weapon is our vote. That's the weapon. Are we the ones to be influenced, or are we the ones that are called to influence others? With this administration now establishing a beachhead for Christians, now is not the time to retreat, but to rush ashore. We must take that ground. A Christian, this year, we just need to make sure, for Christians, we just need to make sure that we vote. And if you don't know where to go, if you don't know who to vote, just treat it like, say if you have to get your dog groomed, or you have to get your car fixed, or you have to find a job, or you need to find the best way to shop. Just Google it. Just start asking questions. Do some research. Ask people that know. And but don't let that be an excuse to not actually go and put that, just go stuff that ballot box. So let's make sure we do it.